Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we bring you in-depth guides on fascinating topics. Today, we're diving into the world of leopard geckos, exploring 30+ awesome morphs in what we like to call the complete guide. If you're a reptile enthusiast or considering a leopard gecko as your new pet, this video is a must-watch. So, buckle up as we embark on this exciting journey into the diverse and colorful realm of leopard gecko morphs. Leopard geckos are adored for their friendly nature and ease of care, making them a favorite among reptile enthusiasts. In this guide, we'll be unraveling the mystery behind leopard gecko morphs, variations in size, color, pattern, and other physical features. Some morphs occur naturally, while others are the result of selective breeding, leading to a vast array of captivating options for reptile owners. Before we delve into the different morphs, let's familiarize ourselves with some essential terminology. Understanding terms like genetic traits, recessive and dominant traits, phenotype, genotype, and breeding methods such as line breeding and outcrossing will be crucial as we explore the diverse world of leopard gecko morphs. Now, let's categorize the various morphs we'll be discussing in this guide. From normal high yellows to albino morphs, striped morphs, giant leopard geckos, hypo/hyper melanistic morphs, and more. The options are extensive. Each category offers a unique set of characteristics, and we'll guide you through the distinctive features of each. First, we will talk about normal leopard geckos. Normal leopard geckos are the types you'll most typically find at Petco or other chain pet stores. They generally cost a bit less than the rarer morphs, but are awesome nonetheless. Normal, sometimes called wild type. These are the types of leopard geckos found in the wild. These lizards display the signature yellow bodies and black spots for which leopard geckos are named. These are generally the least expensive and most readily available type of leopard gecko. High yellow. This is a normal variant with more yellow coloration than usual, and with fewer black spots. Once again, these are fairly common and usually not too expensive. Don't worry, we will get to those. Now, let's talk about albino morphs. Albinism in leopard geckos is a bit different than the albinism seen in other animals. Albinism is typically caused by a lack of the enzyme tyrosinase, which prevents the animal from producing melanin. Albino leopard geckos produce a very small amount of melanin, and do not have this enzyme deficiency. Technically speaking, this makes them amelanistic rather than truly albino. So-called albino leopard geckos usually display some light coloration. Mac snow. Mac snow leopard geckos are pale with black bands. They are usually white as hatchlings, but develop some light coloring as they mature. Super snow. Super snows are homozygous, and are usually the result of breeding two Mac snow morphs together. Heavy speckling and white coloring are the signature features of this morph, along with solid color eyes. Tremper or Texas albino. Tremper albinos were one of the first albino leopard gecko strains to be discovered. They mostly display silver eyes with visible red veins and can come in a range of colors including brown, yellow, pink, and orange. Bell albino. Some people may call this particular morph the Florida albino. They are often lavender in color, with brown spots. One of the most distinguishing characteristic of the bell albino is its light pink eyes. Rainwater albino. Rainwaters are generally smaller and lighter in color than other albino morphs. As hatchlings, they most often display yellow bodies and pink bands. In addition, rainwaters have darker eyes than other albinos. Rainwaters are sometimes called Las Vegas geckos. Now, let's talk about striped leopard gecko morphs. Striped morphs display stripes that run down the length of their bodies. Stripes are not to be confused with bands, which are rings that wrap around the width of the body. Bold stripe. Bold stripes display patterns and stripes that run down the sides of their bodies, rather than in the middle of their back. This morph is highly desired and can often go for $200 to $300, sometimes more. Red stripe. The red striped leopard gecko has two red, or reddish, colored stripes down each side of its back. These stripes usually show up around 6 months of age. Before that, the juvenile gecko will display some brown coloration where the stripes will eventually be. Raining red stripe. The raining red stripe morph is the result of crossing rainwater albinos with red stripe and bold stripe varieties. These morphs look much like a rainwater albino with red stripes. Much like their striped counterparts, raining red stripes can get pretty pricey. The one pictured above is valued at over $600. Now let's talk about giant leopard geckos. The name of this category of morphs is pretty self-explanatory, as giants are bigger than the average leopard gecko. Not all large leopard geckos are necessarily true giant varieties, though. Supergiant. The supergiant is the homozygous version of the giant and, as you may have guessed, is so named because it's even bigger than regular giant morphs. Godzilla supergiant. As indicated by the name, this is the biggest giant leopard gecko variety. They are limited in availability and often hard to find. The supergiant featured above, nicknamed Godzilla, weighed in at 142 g and is listed for over $1,200. Talk about a true monster. Let's talk about hypo/hypermelanistic morphs. Hypomelanistic, or hypo, morphs have less melanin than others and no more than 10 spots on their bodies. This does not include spots that may appear on the head or tail. Hypermelanistic, or hyper, morphs have more melanin, which gives them a darker pigmentation. Superhypo. Superhypos are hypomelanistic leopard geckos that are yellow with no spots on their bodies at all. As you can see from the image above, superhypos often have spots on their head, unlike baldies shown below. Baldy. Baldies are superhypos with no spots on their heads. They generally start around $150 and get more expensive depending on how much of a reddish tone they have. Blood superhypes can fetch upwards of $750. Albinos, or hypoalbinos, are created by combining a superhypo and any of the albino strains. They are usually solid yellow or orange yellow colored with eyes that display characteristics of an albino variety. Some breeders may refer to these as sunglow morphs. Hypo ghost, $200. Hypo ghosts, or simply ghosts, display very light coloration. This tends to fade even further as they mature. Hypo ghosts are often difficult to spot as juveniles since they look so much like Mac Snows. Let's talk about melanistic leopard geckos. To be considered melanistic, a leopard gecko must be all black, though it is reported that a melanistic morph was successfully produced. There are currently no known true melanistic leopard geckos. However, breeders are actively working on developing them. The closest morphs currently available are black velvets and black pearls. One thing is for sure, when melanistic leopard geckos are finally produced, they're going to fetch incredible prices. Let's talk about blizzard leopard gecko morphs. Blizzard gecko variants are devoid of patterns, and instead display a solid color across their entire bodies. Blizzards are generally white or yellow. Darker colored blizzards are sometimes called midnight blizzards. Banana blizzard. Sometimes, bright yellow blizzard morphs are sold as banana blizzards. However, a true banana blizzard is really a yellow-colored patternless. Blazing blizzard. Blazing blizzards are blizzard morphs that have been bred with albino morph varieties. So far, breeders have been successful at creating rainwater and tremper blazing blizzards. Blazing banana blizzard. Still under development by breeders, the blazing banana blizzard combines blizzard, patternless, and albino traits. The eyes should look like the type of albino they are bred from, and the body should display traits consistent with the patternless morph. Now I am going to talk about patternless morphs, sometimes called Murphy patternless. These leopard geckos have no discernible spots once they reach adulthood. They are very similar in appearance to blizzard morphs. Most are purple or gray, though some are greenish or yellow in color. Patternless albinos are a popular morph combination, as are carrot-tail patternless leopard geckos and patternless blizzards. Now it's time to talk about other leopard gecko morphs. Here are some other awesome types of leopard geckos that don't fit into the above categories. Eclipse. An eclipse displays solid-colored eyes. This trait is found in Mac Super Snows, blizzards, and tremper eclipses. The eclipse trait is recessive, so two eclipse leopard geckos can produce snake-eyed offspring as well. Snake eyes. Snake eye morphs are seen in blizzards and tremper eclipses, and are characterized by having eyes that are not completely solid, resembling, in some cases, snake eyes. Breeders usually list the percentage of snake eye the leopard gecko has. This percentage represents how much of the lizard's eye is solid-colored. Enigma. Enigmas have speckled patterns and mostly white tails. Enigmas tend to have blotches rather than defined bands and often become more spotted as they age. Tangerine. Any leopard gecko displaying any shade of orange can be considered a tangerine. Super hypo tangerines, such as the one shown above, tend to fetch higher prices than those with a less intense orange coloration. Carrot tail. This refers to a leopard gecko that has an orange tail. Most commonly, carrot tails are seen in raptors, patternless, tangerines, hypos, and albinos. Carrot tail morphs have recently been reported among blizzards as well. Carrot head. This term is used for leopard geckos with orange heads, like carrot tails. The price of carrot head leopard gecko often increases as the intensity of the orange hue increases. Aberrant. Aberrants are characterized by their inconsistent or broken patterns. To be a true aberrant, the disrupted pattern must be displayed on the tail or the body, but not on both. Aberrants are most commonly found among normal and maxno morphs. Jungle. A jungle leopard gecko is much like an aberrant, except that the broken pattern appears on both the tail and the body. The gecko shown above is actually considered carrot head, carrot tail, and jungle tremper albino. Marble eye. Rare among leopard gecko morphs. The marble eye trait is so named because it describes reptiles whose eyes have a three-dimensional, marble-like appearance. Lavender. This name is generally applied to any leopard gecko with lavender or violet color variations on its body. This is a particularly difficult morph to produce. Most baby lavenders begin to lose their signature coloration as they get older. Halloween mask. Sometimes called Halloween geckos. Leopard geckos with this trait display bold markings on their heads and bodies. These markings are usually very dark and striking. Raptor. This is an acronym for red-eye albino patternless tremper orange. Raptors have red eyes and orange bodies. This morph is the result of combining eclipse, patternless stripe, and tremper albino morphs, reverse stripe, carrot head, and opter morphs were all created during attempts to produce the raptor morph. Opter, or albino patternless tremper orange, is very similar to the raptor. It does not, however, have red eyes. Diablo Blanco. This combination morph is a blend of blizzard and raptor traits. They have white bodies and solid red eyes. A solid white gecko might not sound like the most exiting morph at first, as you can see, though these guys are visually striking. Dreamsicle. The dreamsicle morph comes from combining the Enigma, Raptor, and Maxno morphs. They generally exhibit orange and wild patterns, hence the dreamsicle name. Nova. Novas are a combination of Enigma and Raptor morphs. When it comes to adding a leopard gecko to your collection, the first and most critical step is choosing the right breeder. Selective breeding has surged in popularity, but unfortunately, not all breeders possess the necessary experience and expertise. Irresponsible breeding can lead to defects, disorders, and even tragic outcomes for these beloved pets. So, what should you look for in a reputable breeder? Let's explore the key factors that can help you make an informed decision. First and foremost, expertise is paramount. A good breeder should be well-versed in leopard gecko genetics and morph varieties. They should be knowledgeable, able to answer your questions thoroughly, and provide accurate information about the geckos they breed. Communication is another crucial aspect. A reliable breeder should not only be open to answering your questions before a purchase, but should also remain available for support afterward. Look for breeders who encourage you to reach out with any queries or concerns, even after you've brought your new pet home. Pay attention to the breeder's attitude. If they are defensive or unpleasant when asked questions, it could be a red flag. Look for someone who genuinely cares for the animals they work with. A positive attitude is a good indicator of responsible breeding practices. Lastly, consider the breeder's reputation. Good breeders usually have positive reviews or testimonials from past customers. Reptile communities, both local and online, can provide valuable insights into different breeders. Always do your research. As we wrap up this comprehensive guide, remember that the success of your leopard gecko experience starts with selecting the right breeder. We highly recommend Geckos Etc.com, a breeder with a solid reputation for their expertise, excellent communication, positive attitude, and, most importantly, the well-being of their geckos. Check out the link in the video description below for an awesome and unique leopard gecko to add to your collection. Thank you for joining us on this comprehensive journey through the incredible world of leopard gecko morphs. If you're as captivated by these fascinating creatures as we are, don't forget to check out the recommended breeder, Geckos Etc.com, for an awesome and unique leopard gecko. The link is in the video description below. As always, like, share, and subscribe for more content on exotic pets and in-depth guides. Until next time, take care and happy gecko keeping.